Dad, let's start with the obvious question. How back is Indiana? And is this the most back that IU has been since 1987, would you say?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you part of the reason why, and it's Coach Woodson. I understand, I didn't see anything about or any pictures, but I think they started Woodsonville outside Assembly Hall. I heard there were kids camping out, and I did see a line 3 hours before the game that was very, very long. I don't think that's happened for a while. So, yeah, I'd say we're back.
There you go.
Oh, I love that.
Definitive declaration that IU is back. That is no, we were talking about that earlier, that the students showing up, and this felt like a game that frankly mattered so much more to IU than it did Purdue, where it just felt like Indiana had to win. It just like there was no this was like the biggest.
They were destined to win.
I said this was the biggest in like 90. Do you remember a time that like you felt going into an IU game? Like what was the last time you felt like this is so important that it might be a regular season game, but like this is, this feels bigger than that. Like I don't, my answer was 2013 versus Michigan, when Michigan was number 1 and IU was number 3. And then IU went on to win the Big Ten, but I don't know. What do you think?
When we beat Kentucky at Assembly Hall.
In 2012?
The last time those cowards came up there.
Well, hold on. Great discussion point.
Kentucky fans they're trying to say that they don't care about Indiana successes, that they're not worried about it. They're not rivals, which sounds to me like you might be a rival.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why don't they come up and play then if we're not a rival or they don't care? There's a lot of other schools that they play and want to beat up on. Come to Bloomington again.
See, I love this is the bravado that everyone in Bloomington needed, and they needed one, lynch point moment where they could say, like, this is it. This is where we become the Indiana that we're supposed to be. And there was bedlam in Bloomington. That was the headline.
There was an idea when Archie was fired, and then IU fans were flirting, were trying to convince themselves that Brad Stevens was maybe coming and all that kind of stuff. And there was a national narrative that IU fans are unrealistic, and that that IU fans expect to win a national title every year and all that sort of thing. I would say your generation of Indiana grads, Indiana fans, represents probably what people think. Like when people picture an Indiana fan who's unrealistic, they probably picture your face. They probably picture a guy wearing a quarter zip with a gray beard who remembers the Bob Knight heyday, So as a representative of the unrealistic Indiana fan, what actually is the expectation as an Indiana fan going into each season? Because I was telling Tate, I was like, in my mind, I feel like the expectation for Archie wasn't to win national titles, it was to beat Purdue and make the NCAA tournament. It was simply that. How do you see it then?
Well, I think the last few years, the expectations have always been just hope they play well, hope they can beat somebody, hope they can do something. Now I think the hope has become expectations with Coach Woodson there. He's someone, Mark and Tate, that understands it all, understands what IU basketball means to the university, what IU basketball means to the state of Indiana. He lived it. He's got pride. He's always had the IU pride. It's never left him. And I think he's brought all that in. Well, I don't want to say a lot of energy. He's a pretty level-headed and calm and cool guy, but he certainly brought his expertise and love for IU basketball. And people see that and they feel that coming from a head coach. And obviously we haven't, with outsiders the past few years, we haven't had that there. But I think the expectations for him and the program have certainly risen in the last 24 hours.
And you can see the joy, right, Coach Titus? Like when you saw after the game when they cut to Woody, I mean, he is literally, it's jubilation. I mean, he's almost like in tears. And Titus, you described him as having a heart attack.
Well, contrast Woody's reaction beating Purdue last night with Tom Crean on the Watford shot when Tom Crean looked like he crapped his pants. it was like where am I?
Oh my God.
Meanwhile, Woody's like,
Woody obviously is happy for the program and everything. I think he's really happy for Finney. If you guys have seen some of the quotes about the talk they had before the game yesterday, I think he's really happy for that kid who had an unbelievable game, obviously. And I'll tell you what, Purdue's a really, really good basketball team. Yes, Tate, I said that.
I love it, Coach.
I think they've got a lot of tools. As a matter of fact, they've got more tools than an IndyCar team. They've got all the tools they need to be a great team. Maybe lacking a point guard guard. I think that's a true point guard. I think they could use Billy Keller back, but that's a throwback that most people won't understand. But but otherwise, I think they're a great team. They've got great players who do some things. I think the crowd bothered them last night. I think IU was well prepared for them. I think, I'll just throw out. So here's what I think about the game. You haven't asked yet. But, first of all, Durr, besides Fennessy, played a great game. The other thing, and you guys will know better than I, IU had 2 turnovers, and Jackson Davis had both of them. And I see some stats or some box scores that said they had 3, so there must have been a team turnover, whatever that is. But the crowd was unbelievable. Jackson Davis made 2 free throws down the stretch in a row, which was amazing. IU's free throw defense was unbelievable, held Purdue to 41%, which is awesome. And but I think the 2 turnovers is what people are missing out on. If you play anybody and only have 2 turnovers, you got a great chance of winning. And then the other stat that really stood out to me was IU had 9 steals and Purdue had 0 steals. And I know that Painter teaches defense up there and promotes it, but IU really got after it last night, which was great to see.
I gotta say, I gotta point out the obvious here. Is he not like more reserved than we thought? Like it looks like he's on staff now.
Well,
like he shows up wearing the quarter zip, like giving Purdue credit. He's like, they're a good team.
We talked about this. Indiana basketball is recentered. They're back at the top, so he can give credit where credit is due now. You know what I mean? It's recentered. You know what I mean?
Last time he came on the show, Purdue was ranked number 1.
Yes.
He was obviously in his feelings about it and was kind of like bubbling over. Now he's got a calm zen, like
because
life
back on top.
Yes, he's back to restart.
Hey, only great teams with great performances can beat the number 4 ranked team in the country. So
that's what it is. That's a smart move too. Is like he's hyping up Purdue to make the make the win feel more valuable.
Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.